hopefully that's working. Hi. I have to be kind of quiet because I'm in the office. That's probably actually quite loud. Once again, it is boiling hot and I have the window open so you can probably hear traffic and everything, but I wanted to start this video and I meant to do it at home, but that didn't happen. So I'm now in my office and basically I have been asked very last minute to present at a conference. I was given 3 weeks notice and it's 1 week before the conference. I was planning on going to this conference anyway and like I was just gonna attend, but then somebody dropped out and they asked if I would fill in, which is super exciting but also kind of terrifying because it's, I think, the world's biggest medieval conference and there's going to be up to 5,000 people there. Not that they're all going to be in my stream, but there's like 48 consecutive streams at a time, and yeah, it's kind of intimidating because a lot of the people that I really like respect as academics are going to be there and might end up in my presentation. So yeah, anyway, I thought because of that I'd do another like write with me or something. So I hope that this is inspiring or something, and I'll take you through like how I write a conference presentation and making the presentation itself and how I write everything out and how many words I do and everything. So yeah, thanks for joining me on this video. It's giving me some great motivation and I guess we just get to it. Earlier this week I pretty much just brainstormed roughly what I could do so that I can just start writing on something, but I didn't have any idea on what to write on, so I started a brainstorm from this. I also finished up the website where I'm documenting all of the examples that I'm using. These are all the like pattern stories that I found, and so I basically went through and did this, and then I went through the stories again and labeled them with like the main themes or what's happening or the biblical story that it's related to, and that is how I then got from here down to here. And I came through and was like, oh, your eyes will not see is one of the stories up here, and the writing on the wall is the story here and stuff. So I went through and found ones like those two stories, for example, talk about like a good king and like showing his faithfulness, but then these two stories are kind of more about like redemption and changing the character from what the biblical character had been like, who had not acted so well, and then making them act like a good character. So yeah, anyway, that's as far as I've got with like ordering my ideas, and I think what I'm going to start with is writing out the parts of my talk that I can already do, which is breaking down like what is patterning, because it's an idea that a lot of people haven't really looked into before, and so I always find if I don't explain it in a talk, then people just get confused. So I'm gonna start with that, and I'll check in with you in a bit.
Speak with clarity, 'cause there's too much noise around us. Or maybe it's just me. There's treasure in the sea, yeah, but I'm just too dry to reach it. So speak sincerely, huh?
This quickly because my office mate, I feel really weird saying it, the person I share an office with has just gone out shopping for like 20 minutes. So I'm recording this quickly while I can, but I basically just wanted to say that I am going through and analyzing the 2 stories that I picked out that I want to talk about in my talk. And I've basically set up a document here, hopefully you can see that, where I've gone through and listed the narrative structure and labeled each section by like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H for the story. And then the ones that are similar to the story, but in my source, I've labeled with like A apostrophe to show the connection between the 2 of them. And then I've gone through and found like, how about I just show you? So here's the like A, and then that's the equivalent in the story that I'm doing. And then I've gone through and found, oh, I'm shaking, sorry, similar phrasing that's used, and then differences between the story, any notes, and then I've got like the Latin version. But this story I thought was only similar due to part F, which is that they struck the ground or struck the rock. And it's so crazy because I didn't realize that this whole narrative structure was similar. And then not only that, but the fact that the rock was struck twice, and here it says the stick was twisted into the ground 2 or 3 times. So it's actually so much more similar than I thought it was going to be. So I'm very happy and I'm very excited that this is a lot more like solid than I thought it was going to be. So now I'm just going through and doing my second story. I've written out the narrative structure for the biblical story, and now I'm just going through and doing the structure of my source. And then I just need to go through and do the differences and the similarities, and yeah, I'll update on you soon, but I'm just going to do that. And then I'm going to start writing around it and seeing how much of a paper I can get out of this. Good morning. It is not the morning anymore. It's 1 p.m. but ow, just banged my knee. Oh, I do that way too much. It is now the next day from when I filmed the beginning of this video, and I'm at home. I pretty much finished off yesterday with making those like spreadsheet things of going through and analyzing the different stories, and I did that for both of my stories that I think I want to talk about in my presentation. So I went through and made a list of the differences, and I lined up the 2 things, and I put the Latin and the English, the 2 different Latin versions from the 2 different stories, just to see if there were any textual similarities. But besides that, I pretty much finished up for the day and went out for a drink with a friend and then came home. So it's now Saturday. I was intending on working on my New Zealand job today, but I've just decided that I feel like I've got this presentation in my head and I almost just want to get it done and then spend next week working more on my job to catch up the hours, just because I feel like I'm gonna start stressing if I haven't written my presentation, because I need time to practice it, and I know that I need time to practice it. So instead of working today, I spent the morning tidying up. I like cleaned my desk, I cleaned up our whole bedroom, made the bed, I tidied Luke's desk, and yeah, gave the house a bit of a spruce. And now I'm feeling ready to sit down, get some work done. I'm not going to be going for too long because I said to Luke I'd try to get to the gym for about 5 if I plan on going to the gym today, and I'm going to see how I feel closer to the time because I'm just sore. I went for a run yesterday. It was like almost 6Ks, and that's the longest I've run since my knee injury last year, I think, and it's just sore. So we'll see. I'm going to start working today, see how much I can get done, and yeah, that's about all the update I've got right now. Do you know what? I'm looking rough today, and we're just we're just gonna deal with it. It's another at-home work day. I'm very sorry that I've got the fan going, but it is way too hot in here to turn it off, so you're just gonna have to deal with it. So it is Tuesday and today is the last day that I can write my presentation, because if I want my supervisor to read it, because he needs to finish his presentation obviously, and so I've been given a time slot, I have to send it to him tonight. But I'm on 2,318 words. I have pretty much written the body of the presentation, which is really nice, and it means that my description of what patterning is and the two examples that I'm using are all written, like the bulk of it is written. My one problem is always conclusions. Like, I just suck at writing conclusions, and with this conclusion, like with the way that I've structured this paper, it's not so much a discussion of different ideas that at the end of the conclusion I can kind of just summarize. It's more all of the points that I'm talking about throughout the paper lead towards the conclusion, where I then say, and this is why it's important. And I think this is the bit that I haven't done yet in any of my research. Like, a lot of what I've been doing has been talking about like my methodology and the different ways that people have approached this literary technique before, and I've gone through and started analyzing the different stories that I'm looking at, and I've used the analysis software, like the text analysis software, and all of those different things are like super important, and I have to do it for my PhD obviously, but it's also meant that I haven't really done the "and this is why it all matters" section, and so it's definitely hard to write it for the first time, and I've definitely been putting it off as well, if I can be honest for a second. I think I don't know, it's it's just kind of intimidating to be like, and here's why my entire PhD is worth it kind of thing. It's fine, I'll be fine, I just need to basically sit down and write it. So I thought I'd just do a quick check-in, say that's where I'm up to, and yeah, I'm just gonna write this now. I'll hopefully check in when it's done. Yeah. And I'm done! Oh, I'm so happy. It's only 4:46, which means I'm like actually done early. I have an appointment tonight at 7:30. I've got home group, and I was just so worried that I was going to be working on this the whole afternoon, and I haven't been, which is great. This was actually so much quicker than I thought it was going to be. So I wrote it down on a sticky note, but I have 2,686 words, which is like perfect for me for my speed that I speak at, and also because I generally ad-lib. And ad-libbing is bad, but I mean, it's not bad, but when I've written out a script, occasionally I'll ad-lib something, and so if I add too many words, it means that I'll run out of time. And so having, yeah, like around 2,600, 2,700 is normally what I aim for. So I've hit it right where I need to be. I've fixed all my footnotes, which is brilliant, because it means that, like, if somebody asks me a question about a specific thing, it's all there, and I can go to, or like point towards the person who I'm referencing, and hopefully also it can trigger my memory of that text, because I am somebody who needs cues, and I find it really hard in question time when someone asks me something and I just can't remember where I even got that from. And so if I've at least got like, oh, that was by Helmut Reimitz, or that was from the narratology paper, if I've got that trigger, then I can usually recall it a bit better. So that's all done, which is exciting. I just need to make my presentation and fix up the handout, because ideally I want to print everything before I go to Leeds. I don't want to be worried about trying to print there, even though I requested access to the printers. I just don't want to worry about it. So I need to fix the handout, I need to make the presentation slides, and that should be it. Theoretically, it's very exciting. I'm so proud of myself for finishing this early. and feeling confident about it. I think I was really worried about that conclusion bit, about drawing the connections, and it's obviously nothing revolutionary, but it feels good to know that it's done. And yeah, I'm excited to have some feedback on the topic, and this is my first presentation where I'm not being like, I'm new to this topic, give me your ideas. It's more like, no, I've been doing this for a while, I've set my topic in stone now, and I have the terminology that I'm using, and I've got the way it works and everything, and this is me discussing some examples of it. And so I'm curious to see what the reaction to that is and how people find it, or what feedback they have. So yeah, going good so far, going good. Hi, it's a bit later as in it's the 23rd of August, and I was filming this at the end of June, but I just wanted to jump on because I realized I didn't actually do a conclusion to this video, and I just wanted to jump on super quick and say that the presentation actually went so well. I'm so proud of myself, and I did a handout that a lot of people found really helpful, and I basically put on what I showed you in terms of the way I broke down the two different stories, and I had a PowerPoint which I think looked very aesthetic. I find it so annoying when people don't put effort into PowerPoints and it's just kind of boring. I feel like there's some sort of level of creativity that engages the audience, and so yeah, I really liked it. Anyway, back on topic. The presentation went really well, and I got some amazing feedback which I've been able to include in this next section of my thesis that I'm writing, which is also happens to be part of a presentation that I'm doing for another conference in September. So this is the last big conference for a while, hopefully for about a year. It takes a lot of time writing a conference paper, but the feedback was unbelievably helpful, and I actually met some people who are going to be at the conference in September, so that was really good. I'm really happy about that. But yeah, I just want to say thank you for watching, and thanks for coming along with me as I wrote this. It was actually really helpful having the motivation and having, I don't know, feeling like I was documenting this so that when I go back in a few years, maybe at the end of my PhD, I can rewatch these videos and see what my process was for writing and seeing if it's changed at all, or yeah. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you
Can't believe I
soon.
live in your thoughts. I think about you all the time, morning, evening, and midnight. Such a wonderful deal.